Welcome back to our series on the journey of humankind. In today's episode, we're diving into the single most important discovery in human history: fire. This wasn't just a discovery, it was the moment we went from being at the mercy of nature to starting to control it. The mastery of fire was a monumental turning point, separating early humans from every other species on the planet. It was the spark that ignited our dominance and defined what true survival intelligence really is. Imagine a world of perpetual twilight, ruled by fear of the dark and the predators that lurked within it. This was the reality for our ancestors before fire. This episode explores how we tamed the flame and how, in turn, it transformed us forever. So, how did we first encounter this powerful force? Initially, it was a terrifying spectacle. A bolt of lightning striking a dry tree, or a wildfire sweeping across the savannah. These were natural, chaotic events. Our ancestors, instead of just fleeing, began to see an opportunity. The earliest use of fire wasn't about creating it, but about capturing and preserving it. A smoldering branch from a lightning strike would have been a priceless treasure, a sacred ember to be carefully fed and guarded, carried from camp to camp. This act of preservation was our first step towards mastery. Over the thousands of years, we moved from being firekeepers to firemakers, experimenting with friction, like rubbing sticks together or striking certain stones to create a spark. It was a painstaking process of trial and error. But when we finally cracked the code, we held godlike power in our hands. Fire became more than a tool. It was a symbol of our growing intellect, our power, and our unstoppable progress. With the ability to create fire at will, our entire survival strategy changed. The world was full of creatures much bigger, stronger, and faster than us. A saber-toothed cat or a cave bear would have seen a lone human as an easy meal. But no animal, no matter how ferocious, would willingly approach a roaring fire. The campfire became a circle of safety, a fortress of light and heat in a cold, dangerous world. It kept the predators at bay and allowed our ancestors to sleep with a newfound sense of security. It also allowed us to expand into colder climates, areas that would have been uninhabitable without a source of warmth. Fire was our shield and our furnace, protecting us from both the beasts and the elements. But the protection it offered was just the beginning. The greatest revolution fire brought was to our diet. Before fire, our ancestors ate food. This meant a lot of time spent chewing tough meat and fibrous plants, and it also came with a high risk of parasites and disease. Cooking changed everything. Applying heat to food not only kills harmful bacteria, making it safer to eat, but it also breaks down tough fibers and proteins. This process, called predigestion, meant our bodies could absorb far more nutrients and calories with less effort. This surplus of energy didn't just make us stronger. It fueled the growth of our most energy-hungry organ, the brain. A bigger, more powerful brain allowed for more complex thought, better problem-solving, and enhanced social structures. Cooking literally fed our evil. Furthermore, fire extended our day. No longer were we forced to retreat into caves at sunset. The light of the fire pushed back the darkness, giving us precious extra hours for work, for tool-making, and most importantly, for each other. And this is perhaps the most profound transformation of all. The campfire became the heart of the community. As darkness fell, groups would gather around its warmth and light. This was where the foundations of society were forged. It was around the fire that social bonds were strengthened. People shared food, shared warmth, and shared their thoughts. This was the birth of true communication. Language, which may have started as simple calls and warnings, could now evolve into something much richer. It was around the fire that stories were told. Elders could pass down vital knowledge to the younger generation, which plants were safe to eat, how to track animals, and the history of the tribe. This was the first library, the first school, the first theater. The shared experience of sitting around a fire, gazing into the flames, created a sense of belonging and a collective identity. It turned a loose band of individuals into a cohesive, cooperative community, capable of achieving things no single person could. Finally, the mastery of fire was a catalyst for technological innovation. Our ancestors quickly learned that fire could do more than just cook and warm. They discovered that holding the tip of a wooden spear in the flames would harden the wood, making it a much more effective and durable weapon for hunting and defense. This was one of our first forays into materials science. They began to experiment, observing how different materials reacted to heat. They would have noticed how certain rocks cracked or changed color, how clay hardened into pottery, and eventually, how heating specific ores could release the metals trapped within. While the age of metallurgy was still far in the future, these early experiments around the campfire laid the essential groundwork. Every future technological breakthrough, from the first clay pot to the smelting of bronze and iron, has its roots in these initial, curious interactions with fire. It was the original engine of invention, sparking the curiosity and ingenuity that would define the human story. From a force of terror to a tool of survival, from a source of warmth to the heart of our community, fire reshaped humanity. It fueled our bodies, expanded our minds, and forged our societies. It was the single greatest step we ever took, the moment we truly began our journey to becoming the dominant species on this planet. How did our ancestors, once struggling on the vast plains, managed to step out of the food chain and into the throne room of the planet? The answer lies in a force of nature they learned to control. Fire. This wasn't just about cooking food, it was about conquering the world. Imagine the biting cold of an ice age. While other animals grew thicker, fur, or hibernated, early humans did something revolutionary. They carried fire with them. This portable warmth allowed them to push into previously uninhabitable frozen territories. From the icy plains of Europe to the frigid landscapes of Siberia, they were no longer bound by climate. They could build shelters, caves, huts, whatever they could find, turn them into warm, safe homes with a simple hearth. This wasn't just survival, it was expansion. Fire became the engine of human migration, allowing us to spread across the globe. They even learned to use fire strategically, clearing forests for hunting or encouraging the growth of edible plants. They were terraforming on a small scale, long before the word even existed. But the impact of fire went far deeper than just physical survival. It ignited a revolution in the human mind. Picture a group of early humans huddled around a crackling fire at night. The darkness outside, once filled with unseen terrors, was now pushed back by a circle of light. This constant source of light and warmth did more than just keep them safe. It gave them a profound sense of security and control. For the first time, they were masters of the night. This newfound safety fostered a deep emotional connection to fire. It became a symbol of community, a gathering place for storytelling, and the centerpiece of early rituals. The dancing flames likely inspired awe and wonder, giving rise to some of the first spiritual beliefs and mythologies. The fire wasn't just a tool, it was a companion, a protector, a god. This surge in confidence was crucial. It fueled our ancestors' ambition, making them believe they could not only survive but also shape their own destiny. From this spark of confidence, the path to civilization was lit. The skills needed to maintain a fire-gathering fuel, controlling the flames, planning for the future trained the human brain and strategic thinking. It was a shift from reactive survival to proactive planning. This cognitive leap was monumental. The mastery of fire was the first major step humanity took toward controlling its environment, rather than just being at its mercy. This mindset laid the groundwork for everything that followed. Fire made it possible to clear land for agriculture, turning hunter-gatherers into farmers. It was the heat from fire that allowed for the smelting of ores, ushering in the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. Without fire, there would be no pottery, no metallurgy, no advanced tools. Our cities, our technologies, our entire civilization, it all traces back to that fundamental ability to control combustion. So, when we look back at the grand story of human evolution, fire is not just a chapter, it's the prologue to every major advancement. It was the catalyst that transformed us. It proved that our greatest strength wasn't sharp claws or brute force, but our intelligence and our ability to harness the laws of nature. The moment our ancestors first dared to tame a flame was the moment we stopped simply being a part of the world and started to build our own. It was the true dawn of humanity, the spark that ignited our journey to the stars. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into our fiery past interesting, do you forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories about how we became who we are today. See you next time.